Good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling this morning? Fantastic, fantastic. It's good that you're here with us this morning because... Thank you, Barbara. We're starting a new sermon series this week. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. We're starting a new sermon series. Anyway, welcome, everyone. We're excited that you're here this morning. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, we want to say welcome to you also. If you would put a note in there and let us know that you're with us, we want to celebrate this morning with you. Like I said, we are starting a new sermon series this morning. It's called the Lazarus Blueprint. Who's familiar with the book, The Lazarus Blueprint? Who is not familiar with the book, The Lazarus Blueprint? I fall into that category. I have no idea what it's about. Except that it is based on what scholars say is one of the most significant miracles that Jesus performed. And since we're beginning that series this morning, Reverend Linda asked me to kind of give the backstory very quickly about how this works. The story starts in John, and there's a man named Lazarus, and he's sick. He's really sick. And he lives in a town called Bethany, and it's in Judea. And Lazarus, he had two sisters, Mary and Martha. And if you recall, Mary was also the same one that broke the bottle of perfume on Jesus' feet and dried it off with her hair. That's the same Mary that we're talking about here. And Lazarus is their brother, and he's very sick. And so they sent word to Jesus. They said, "The one that you love is sick. Come quickly." And Jesus heard this, and he told his disciples, he said, this sickness will not end in death, is what he says. But they waited 2 more days where they were, and then they decided to go to where Lazarus was. And so they started on the journey, and when Mary and Martha heard that Jesus was on the way, they ran out to meet Jesus, and they said, "Oh, Lord, Lord, if you had only been here, our brother would not have died. He's dead. He's already dead." And Jesus, he was very saddened, and so he said, "Show me where he is. Take me to him." And so they took Jesus to the tomb where he was. And he was very sad. It said Jesus wept. By the way, that's the shortest verse in the whole Bible right there. John 35, Jesus wept. And so Jesus was very sad. And Jesus, he said, "Move the stone away from the entrance." And the sister said, "Oh, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. There's already a very, very bad odor." And the King James says he stinketh, is what the King James says. And Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" And so they took the stone away, and Jesus says, "Father, thank you that you have heard me." And then he called out into a loud voice. He said, "Lazarus, come out." The King James says, "Lazarus, come forth." And the dead man got up, and he walked out and stood in the entrance of the cave. He was still bound in the grave clothes that he had, that they buried him in. And so Jesus said, "Take the grave clothes off of him. Take the grave clothes off. Let him go." So this morning, the question is, what is your resurrection moment? What do you need to be raised out of the grave from this morning? Jesus says you don't have to wait till the end. He said, "I am the resurrection right now. I am the life right now. If you believe in me, even though you die, you will live." Let's sing this song. The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, and trembles at his voice. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And oh, we'll see how great is our God.
And age to age he stands, and time is in his hands, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three in one, Father, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion
God, and all will see how great is our God. Sing that again. How great is our God? How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Name above all names. Name above all names. Worthy of all praise. My heart will sing how great is our God. Name above all names. Name above all names. Worthy of all praise. My heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. How great is
Land, so just hang with us. We're working on it right now. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning to those of you here. Good morning to those who are patiently waiting out there to be able to hear what's going on here. You can probably see. You just may not be able to hear it yet. So, at risk of those not hearing it out there, and we've got information that'll be coming out in the e-news, it is my excitement and my great pleasure to announce that Jeff Holland has agreed to be our music director moving forward. I know. Some of you may be saying, well, hasn't he already been doing that for the last couple years? And he has certainly, as a volunteer, helped fill in and really support our music program. He has been amazing with me. He served as a board member for 3 years, and you cannot be paid. So he did all of that as an unpaid volunteer for us. And now we hope as we continue to grow and expand, we can share that abundance with, as he has shared his abundance of time with us. You know, there's more to it than just what you see on Sunday. Sometimes we spend many hours in designing, especially special programs like Easter and Christmas, and we've got Easter coming up. Yeah, we're going to have to get together here pretty quickly to see what that's going to look like. But we are so grateful that he is now formally stepping into this role and going to help us move forward, especially once we get back in that space in there. So join with me this morning as we take just a moment to really feel that sense of gratitude for all the good going on in our lives. I know at this time there seems to be so much turmoil and struggle and aggression happening in our world, and it's hard to know how to be as a human being and as a spiritual being. And what we know through truth principle is that we add our energy, positive or negatively, to whatever's happening in the world. So while we do what we can physically, spiritually, the more often that we can stand and be in this place of peace, in this energy of love, we add that to the world. So we just take a moment from our hearts to say thank you for all of the good that we have in our lives. And we send our love. We send our peace out into the world. For we know that in the eternal realm of things, we are one. What we do to another, we do to ourselves. And so we offer for all of those in the world our love, our support. God, we are grateful to know, even if we can't always understand or see it, that you are right there in the midst. And we call forth this mighty power of love to heal, to raise up, and to bring peace to our world. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Here at Unity, we have 5 core values that help support our mission and vision statement. And the core value today is spirit-led. We are open to guidance from spirit and seek it in all that we do. And, it's sort of hard sometimes when you're thinking, is this spirit-led or is this Kenny-led? What is it? But really, if I am making the decision and anyone is excluded or any group is left out, then of course that can really never be spirit-led. So anything that we're doing, if we ask ourselves, is everybody included? Is anybody left out? Are we leaving anybody out on purpose? And if the answer is no, then most likely it's spirit-led. Unity itself has 5 principles, and the one I'd like to speak to today is the old thoughts or things one. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking, feeling, and acting. Yeah, that's the old thoughts are things. And I would challenge you to look around the room that you're in, whether it be here or at home or in the car, and look at anything and say, was it a thought first? And I think the answer is going to be yes. Everything starts with mind and into thought and then into form. So I think it's best expressed in the Bible in Galatians 6:7. And when I grew up, the Bible was a terrifying thing, and I certainly didn't want to open it. But after coming to Unity, it's new. It's a wonderful book, and it shows me things about myself that I never could have imagined. But in Galatians 6:7, it says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for you reap what you sow." And that's thoughts are things. God, don't fool yourself. You're not a victim. This is what you ordered. You ordered this a la carte. You ordered it, the whole meal or whatever. Your thoughts are things. Whatever you think will manifest. When I first came here, I would always go around saying, "Oh, you're killing me." When somebody would say something that I thought was sort of funny. And then finally, I just realized that that's probably not the best thing to be thinking. So thoughts are things. I can't get it through enough. Your world will change when your thoughts change. The word for the day is glory. My life celebrates the glory of God. Golly, I didn't even recognize myself. Glory fills the world with wonder when I attune my senses to it. I hear it in the sound of waves crashing on a beach and in the resonant harmony of a choir. I see it in sunrises and sunsets, in the beauty of gardens, mountains, and forests, and in the eyes of parents holding their newborn child. I feel glory in the depths of my being at those moments when I understand my life is God's life, living as me. There is no place where my human self ends and the divine presence in me begins. God and I are one. The glory of God is revealed in me as I release the thought that I am only human. God's glory shines through me as the divine presence, the Christ, expressing in my healthy body, my insightful mind, and my loving heart. And from Galatians 2:20, and it is no longer I who live, but it is Christ who lives in me. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bob. And band, so good to have it all full up here. It's a little crowded, I'll tell you, when we get the whole crew. So hopefully soon. It was really crowded last week. All right. So I walk on fire. I can do anything. It's a true story. In 2013, I had an opportunity to go to an Edwene Gaines retreat at her place in Alabama. I know some of you are familiar with Edwene. She has been here numerous times as a guest speaker. She is well known for her prosperity teaching. But one of the things that she does at her retreats is offer people a chance to walk across a pretty long runway of hot coals. In fact, you don't just walk across it, you help build it, you release into it, we all, and it was an experience that changed my not only thoughts about it, but physical awareness that we can do so much more than what our minds will sometimes tell us that we are limited as human beings. So I walked across it, not just once, but I had to do it twice just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. And the key is not just walking across it, it's walking across it without getting burned, without having blisters. And it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever done. And when I got a chance a few years later, I said yes again, and I went and walked again. Again, it was just to help my own belief that this was possible. For the next 6 weeks, we're going to be exploring a blueprint for figuring out how to do what our minds might tell us are impossible, how we can overcome whatever obstacles show up in our experiences. And the authors, Richard and Mary-Alice Jafolla, sort of over their 50 years of serving the Unity Ministry, started to see a pattern, and they especially saw it in the story of Lazarus in the Bible. And so they looked at this and said, there are specific things that we can glean from this, and knowing that we are also Christed beings, at least in potential, we have the same opportunity to follow these steps and be able to have the same kinds of results. I will say it's a little out of my realm of belief that I'm going to bring anybody back from the dead. But there's a lot of other real estate in there of things that are important to me, and I would imagine important to you, that we would like to get to the other side of as part of our spiritual journey. So when we apply them, they can lead us to a solution. And it may be something very different from what we have ever imagined or experienced from our past. Because most of the time, what we see as possibilities are things that we've experienced in our past. If we've had difficulty, if we were not able to accomplish something and eventually gave up, then those can become the obstacles that show up in our mind. And this healing, as they call it, can be around anything. I think Reverend Pat last week started talking about healing as in all aspects of our lives. It might be physical healing, it might be financial healing, it might be relationship healing, it might be finding our life purpose and getting clear and overcoming whatever might be blocking us to be able to step into that. And they're so basic. I almost would say they're simple, but they're not easy. They're a simple step to take if we can rearrange and allow our focus and our spiritual abilities to guide us in how we take these simple steps. And they're so powerful that they can work for everyone. You don't have to even believe that Jesus actually did this. You can follow these steps and have a similar result. So Jeff, I asked him to share the Lazarus story at the beginning, and now there's a pop quiz. In fact, I got to get my phone because I want you guys, sorry if I go off camera for just a second here, I want you guys online too to chime in here into the comment section, and it's a simple question. How many days did Jesus wait until he actually went to Bethany? Yay, you're paying attention. Yes. So it was 2 days before he actually started the journey. And they were puzzled, the authors of the book, of why would this one that he beloved, why would he wait for 2 more days before he actually started the journey? Why didn't he go right away? Surely he was aware that it had taken the messenger several days to get there. From the place where Jesus was, which we're told that they have surmised was Bethany on the Jordan, which is where John did his baptizing, to Bethany in Judea, where Lazarus and Mary and Martha lived, was about 18 miles. That's a long journey when you're walking, or if you were lucky, maybe riding on a donkey. So he knew that this was going to take some time, even once he started the journey, to get there. Jesus had already demonstrated that he was a great healer, and he'd healed many people that he didn't even know. So why would he not be urgent about going and doing this great service for his loved one? Was he doing something more important there? More important than even his friend's life? Did he not think that he could do it? Was he doubting his own abilities to do this pretty major miracle? Or was there something more going on? You know, for us, we look at it that way because our natural human reaction when a challenging situation occurs is to react with fear and worry or perhaps even panic. And our response is to rush into it. Our response is to move in as quickly as we can and figure out how to fix it, how we're going to resolve this, to rally our forces, to get all these other people involved. And at least in my experience, it often takes over our every thought. It becomes totally what we're focused on. And yet, Jesus gives us this first clue, this first step into overcoming and moving through the greatest challenges of our lives. And it seems kind of paradoxical and it seems counterintuitive. And that is to wait, is to pause. Sometimes we need to have time to prepare our minds and hearts for the work that's ahead of us, to allow the space for our own divine wisdom rather than our human reaction to guide us. And so this first step is to turn away. And it's not to turn away from the situation, it's to turn away from our fear, our doubt, and our worry. Sometimes even our anger. And that doesn't mean that at times we may have to take some action. We may have to look at the situation and take a step to help bringing it to resolution. It means that we will continue to probably take some action over time as we're guided to, but the rest of the time, we go about trusting life and creating an open space for divine ideas, for spirit, for that higher wisdom within us to be able to work through us, to be able to be what guides us. Dwelling on a problem, and we know this, will not ever solve it, nor will it get rid of it. Quite the contrary, as Kenny just shared earlier, the more that our thoughts are about the problem, the more that we sort of give it power, the more that we give it form, if you will. We give ourselves this time in preparation so that we can allow those positive and constructive thoughts to take root. I always love this quote from Einstein that it says, "No problem can ever be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Have you heard that before? No problem. The solution doesn't lie in the same place that created the problem. You have to go to some other level of consciousness to find what that solution is. So our greatest overcoming for any challenge begins with overcoming our typical human thoughts and emotions. The part of us that doesn't see God in the midst of it. That's the first step. The authors remind us that you don't get rid of weeds by fertilizing them. I love that example too for you outside gardeners. You're not out there watering the leaves here because what do? They just grow. You don't get rid of a negative situation by feeding it with the energy of your fears. The more that you focus on the problem, fertilizing it with negative thoughts and emotions, the more stubborn and stronger it often becomes. But it's not easy to do. We have to be conscious of what we're consciously allowing to live in our minds and in our hearts and be able to somehow shift it. So step one asks us to be aware of the situation that we want to move through, but not elevating it to the top position in your mind, not elevating it to the place where it's always occupying your thoughts. We have to force ourselves, oftentimes. It has to be a conscious effort to turn away from it and then go about being present in our normal activities in this moment. And this, when we can do it, sends a powerful message to our subconscious that the situation, no matter how impossible it might seem, is manageable because we're not spending all our time fearing it or being worried about it. When we can be present without it being the thing that is eating up all of our energy, the parts of us, the subconscious says, they've got this handled. There is a way to handle this. There's a solution to it. And in that space, then new ideas, new possibilities are allowed to rise to the surface. So I mentioned at the beginning about this walking on fire. Now, that's not my feet doing it. I couldn't find any of my pictures. I know I have some, but it's hot. And we spent an entire day in preparation mode for doing this. I didn't understand it at first, like, why are we spending a whole day, you know? And in some ways, it seemed like we were thinking about walking on the fire, but it really wasn't the thoughts of what is it going to be like when I walk on the fire. It was preparing our minds and our hearts to know that it's possible. That's what we spent an entire day on. And I'll tell you, even though Edwene told us that these fires usually are about 1,200 degrees or the same temperature that melts aluminum alloy, the thing used to make car engines, it also was a reminder that nothing is more powerful than our own willingness and ability to center our thoughts and our beliefs in something beyond that. I trusted, and this was how I finally got there. I trusted that if my guidance told me it was okay to walk, then I could walk without burning myself. If my guidance told me it's not okay to walk, even if I felt the peer pressure with my fellow ministers who were all walking on it, then I wouldn't walk. And that's one of the lessons we have to do, is to learn to trust our own intuitive guidance. Even if it's something we really want to do, even if it's something that our human mind is telling us, yeah, we should go do that. If our guidance is not in alignment with that, then we should continue to wait. So this turning away from our negative thoughts and emotions is what we are first called to do before we can get to the part where we have the triumphant entrance of this one who has been raised from the dead. And Jesus knew that. Jesus, I believe, spent his time preparing, knowing that this was going to be probably his biggest challenge as he had walked this earth in his ministry, and yet knew that it wasn't impossible, whether he was ill, whether he was dead a day or 2 days or 4 days, all things were possible. When I'm working in this particular area of trying to really move through and overcome a particular challenge in my life, I have to usually use a mantra. I have to have something that redirects my thoughts, because they will come back and they will come back again and they will come back again. It's part of our human conditioning that anytime we're triggered, those thoughts will show back up again. So sometimes just having a phrase, or what they call in the Eastern world a mantra, can be really helpful. So for me, when I find and notice that I'm back in that place of worry, anxiety, fear, whatever those emotions are, I simply say to myself, God's got this. God's got it. And I may have to say it 50, 100, 200 times a day. God's, whenever I find myself back there, God's got this. Whenever I'm trying to figure out what the solution is, God's got this. So that's the biggest challenge of this first step, is to keep our minds in a space where then answers that are beyond perhaps our own human awareness can rise to the surface. We can have those aha moments. We can have that shift in ourselves that allows us to look at it and to move through it in a different way. So, whatever might be going on in your life right now, I invite you to be willing to suspend any disbelief that there is a wonderful, positive, life-affirming solution to it, and to take this first step and just simply be present to the spirit that is here right now, that allows you just to remember that there is a way through this. I may not even have a clue what that is yet. So as we move into our time of meditation, I'm going to invite you to do just that, to start in this moment. So right where you are, I just invite you to get comfortable. You may want to set aside anything that you might be holding on to physically. Close your outer eyes if you're comfortable with that, so that you can be more aware of this inner life moving in and through you right now. Notice your breathing as it naturally flows in and out of your body, knowing that that is the very breath of God moving in and through you. There is no place, time, situation that you can be separated from the infinite possibilities and life of the divine, alive and present in you. So I invite you to now bring to mind, bring into your heart a particular challenge that you are ready to say yes to overcoming at whatever level that it's showing up in your life. And notice the thoughts and the emotions that come along with that. And just breathe into them for a moment. Acknowledge them, let them be present. Let the worry and those doubting thoughts live for just a moment. and then say to them, God's got this, or some other word or phrase that works for you. With every thought that arises that tells you it's impossible, remind, affirm, believe that there is a way through. Jesus came as the one to show us what was possible for each of us. He came to show us the way. So we take this example of this miraculous miracle that he was able to bring forth as the truth that we can do these things and even greater. We say yes. Yes to finding the path, to doing the work. In a new way. We imagine what that will look like when we reach the end of our own tomb that tells us that there's nothing we can do, and step out and say, yes, I can. Yes, this is possible. And I'm open and willing to follow that divine wisdom that lives in me, that is always seeking to shine the light to where I'm being called next. We call forth and harness all the power in the universe, the right people, the right places, the right support. All is gathering its energetic resources so that whatever is necessary, whatever is needed, will show up. And we will once again say yes. And see if you can't bring into this time and space a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for our universal creator that gave us all of the resources that are necessary to live a full, loving, abundant life. That gave us the resources and the ability to do the seemingly impossible. As we look in the eons of our history, there have been many before us that has showed us, that has created things out of places where people said it could not be done. We are the ones. We don't have to wait for anybody else to help us. We can say yes and follow these steps and know that we never walk this journey alone. And as you take another deep breath in and let it out, just let that be, let that resonate in you and with you and for you. And as you become aware of this space and time and place and sounds in the room, bring back with you the awareness that you can do anything and all things are possible. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So one of the ways that the authors suggest that we support ourselves as we're moving through this first stage is to fill our time with activities that we enjoy. Now, sometimes our activities, whether if we work or hopefully we enjoy that too, but to get focused and fill our lives and not sit and have long spaces of time when we're just ruminating, when we're just stewing in whatever is happening in our lives. Because as we become fully present to whatever we're doing, especially when we enjoy it, it opens the space. It allows our minds, it allows our superconscious and subconscious to allow things to show up that we can't receive when we are fully enmeshed in the problem. And even the tiniest amount of time that we can use to keep fear and worry and anger and upset away, even if it's just this day I did it for 2 minutes, is better than 0 minutes, with the goal of trying to get to at least half of our day fully present in whatever we're doing. Every moment that we can keep that fear and anxiety and worry out of our mind is another moment that spirit can move through us. We can be creative in finding the ways to fill our time with positive activities. We can do things. Gardening right now is going to become a big thing as spring comes upon us, from reading a book that you can get lost in to focusing on whatever gives you a respite. Even in this case, if you can get lost in a TV show or visit with a friend, as long as that friend is in agreement with you that you're not going to spend the entire time telling them how horrible life is and what's going on in your world. Um, Exercise can be a great way. Puzzles. There's so many ways. Find the things that really bring you great joy, or at least can bring you that piece of distraction for a little while. And while, you can't necessarily do this all the time, the more that you can do it, the greater and the quicker the solutions will arise in your life. As you begin taking these first steps, and we're going to be looking over 6 steps or 5 more steps in the coming weeks, you find that you are awakening and becoming more and more aware of this creative intelligence that is within you, that not only knows what to do, but knows how to do it. And that power can heal. It is a harmonizer, and it brings a sense of peace into your life. This is the time and the opportunity. We're moving into Easter. This is going to lead us right up into Easter, into that great resurrection experience that Jesus had. And the beckoning is for each of us to have our own resurrection experience. Excuse me. And if you've got a really big challenge going on right now, you might want to consider joining a spirit group. We've got 3 of them out there that are going to be focusing on this particular series, both on Zoom and in person. We also have our rising generation, sort of millennials, that are going to be gathering together to look at how to de-stress, because for the people that are still working a full-time job and you got kids and you got lots of stuff going on in your life, stress can be a challenging one. So just check out our website. They're out there right now. And I'm going to ask you this morning to join with me to put your voice behind this, your willingness and your believability that this is possible as we affirm this together. So we'll get that up on the screen, and I ask you to read it with me together. The creative intelligence deep within me knows what to do and how to do it. So I relax. I relax. I find the inner strength to fast from fear and feast on the simple pleasures. And it all begins by turning away. Starting today, turning away. And sometimes the best way it begins is to let it be.
I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me.
Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Woo. Yes, we let it be. So we are so grateful for the financial abundance that flows in and through and as Center of Unity, for your generous and for your faithful support. You know, as we see light at the end of our sanctuary construction tunnel, and I need for you to affirm that with me. We've been waiting on the city for several weeks now. Um, we think it's going to be this week. So know that with me. And as we also hopefully see the end of the light, or the light at the end of the tunnel of at least the worst of this pandemic, we're also encouraging you to share your time and your talents with our community. You know, as we get this construction permit, as spring is arriving, we're asking people to be willing to come and spend a little time, a couple hours, whatever you can give to helping us not only get our outside grounds looking really wonderfully, but to also spruce up the spaces inside. So if you can help us out, we've got a sign up sheet over there today. Just give us your information and someone will contact you. Kenny, I think, is going to be kind of in charge of supporting the people outdoors. We'll probably have a group cleanup day, but we also, have opportunities for people, if that doesn't work in that time frame, that they can come in and spend a couple hours and we'll support you in finding the right task for you to do. We will also, as this construction gets completed, be needing to replace the $10,000, which is our, the word just went out of my mind, deductible, thank you, our deductible towards our insurance costs here. So the first Sunday of each month, we're going to sort of revitalize, bring back into our awareness our building fund. And if you find that you have a little extra that you can support and help us replenish that building fund, it would be greatly appreciated. I know it's kind of income tax time for those of you who do get refunds. You know, if you want to think and earmark a little bit with it, that will help us, again, begin to build those coffers for any other needs that we might have in the future. And we're also, as we begin to move back into the sanctuary, we're anticipating here in the next 3 to 4 weeks, they're going to be needing Sunday volunteers. So again, if you'll let us know how you'd be willing to help, if you could give one Sunday a month to youth ed, as you know, to as an usher, as hospitality, all of those things will need to be supported as we get back to what I'm going to call normal church, although this has kind of begun to feel like normal, the new normal of church. And I also just wanted to make you aware today that we have an opportunity. If you want to get greater clarity on your spiritual gifts, Gigi Johnson, our licensed unity teacher, is offering this on Zoom today at 1 o'clock. A part of this, I've just done this with the Disciples group, the Disciples Leadership Group, but part of this is to create your own life purpose statement, to identify your own core values, to look at what your spiritual gifts are and how you might be able to match those up with needs, not only here in our community, but out in the world. So you can go to our website and sign up. She needs to send you some worksheets to work with. So the quicker you can sign up, she'll get those to you. That's happening at 1 o'clock today. So let us take the gifts that we share today, or the energy of those as we give through our committed program, and bless them. That's what we want to do, is bless them. Join with me, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. The baskets are over there. There's an affirmation. These are new affirmations to go along with our Lazarus project, or Lazarus Blueprint. So grab one of those on your way out. What are we doing next? I've lost it. Announcements. Oh, who's come on up, Haley. Is it? Yeah. Oh, well then you say it in your own words too.
Good morning. My name is Haley Ferguson, and happy to be here with you all. If you're watching us for the first time, we're glad you have chosen to join us. We invite you to visit our website, fill out the connection card, and if you're local, we invite you to visit us in person. If you are visiting us in person for the first time, please complete the visitor cards found on the tables with the offering baskets and drop it in the basket or leave it at the visitor's desk, and we welcome you all. The appreciation we are spotlighting today are the spirit group leaders and the participants. Once again, we're offering spirit groups. You have the choice of joining one that will discuss the Lazarus Blueprint that we introduced today, and one geared towards millennials and Gen Xers discussing winning the war in your mind, change your thinking, and change your life, which Kenny was just talking about. Group leaders are Elaine Murphy, Peggy Browning, Jessica and Eric Lantis, Kristen Pope, Madeline Losito, and Mary Salerno. Collectively, we have 9 people signed up so far, and there's plenty of room for more. Some groups are on Zoom, some are in person, and at various times during the day of the week. You can go to our website or go on the app on your phone to learn more information. So, to the leaders and participants who have stepped forward, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Licensed Unity teacher Gigi Johnson is facilitating the 2-session class Spiritual Gifts Discovery, where she will help you discover who you have come here to be, create a personal mission statement, and more. The Zoom ID is on the screen, or you can access it from our website or the COU app. The Spirit Group for Gen X and Millennials, Rising Generation, will meet in the prayer and meditation room for the next 6 weeks to de-stress and create peace. They will be reading Winning the War in Your Mind, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Childcare is provided with a shared cost by group participants. Sign up from our website or the COU app. Take a minute to make a difference. Let's get our church home ready for the grand reopening this April. We need a lot of work outside, and we're hoping to find someone to scrape and repaint the front doors. There's also plenty to do inside, so please let Mary Salerno know when you're available to help. Spirit groups will meet for 6 weeks beginning this week and are closed after March 13th. There are multiple options to choose from to help accommodate various schedules. These groups will be using the book, The Lazarus Blueprint. Sign up from our website or the COU app. The Youth Ed Department is looking for volunteers to facilitate and teach the kids lessons on Sundays. If you feel led to help, please see Debbie after church or fill out the form on the COU app. Donate a bag of eggs. In preparation for Easter, we're asking for donations of fillable eggs and wrapped candy for the Easter egg hunt. Look for the labeled basket in the COU Kids hallway. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, use the COU or Venmo app, or you can text to give. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Why don't we all stand up and we will do our peace song together.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we go into this week, knowing that it's all possible when we walk with the inner energy and with the life and with the wisdom of God, we go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Thank you.